My name is Algenon. I'm a dragon. Yes, it's true. Come along and I will introduce my friends to you. This is Buffy, Amy, and Jill, but we mustn't forget about Ray, Bob, or Bill. We all go to this nice school in town. It's the one with the shingles all painted brown. Our teacher's name is Mrs. Beersley, who's as nice as can be. Can you see her standing there by the big oak tree? We must hurry to school. We don't want to be late. Mrs. Beersley promised us a visitor who is just great. I wonder who could it be? All I know is that it is someone who's famous on TV. Children, Mrs. Beersley did say, I have a surprise for you. Our visitor today is Mr. McClure. You'll know him. He works at Station 42. Mr. McClure walked in wearing a light blue suit, and he had his initials stamped on the side of each boot. He brought in all his trophies to show the class. Some of the trophies were made of glass, and others were made of brass. But big or small, those trophies had a story to tell. They were awarded to him for what he did well. Gee, Algenon thought. Bill won a trophy for all the baseballs he caught. Amy won a plaque because she could spell quite well. And Buffy won a pin for all the plays she has acted in. Ray won a colouring set for playing the clarinet. Jill won a bracelet because she sang and danced too. Well, there must be something I can do. But what? Where is my place? Where is my spot? Just then, Bill asked, What's the matter with you? Algenon replied, I just feel rather blue. You do? Why? Oh, Bill, it doesn't matter how hard I try. I try and try with all my might, but I still can't seem to do anything right. Algenon, everyone has something special. We can each do the best of all. Come along, Algenon, and I will teach you how to play baseball. Bill handed Algenon a bat, but after his swing he just fell kaplat. See, I can try as hard as I might, but I just can't seem to do anything right. Oh, Algenon, please don't say that at all. Come join us and we'll play some volleyball. Jerry called, Hi, Algenon. Watch how you serve the volleyball. I'll show you how it's done. Then come and join in the fun. Jerry's serve was a great one. It rocketed over the net. Now it's your turn, Algenon. You'll do just great, I'll bet. Jerry handed Algenon the volleyball. Here, he said, Algenon, you serve. Algenon took a firm hold on the board and gave it a hard whack. Instead of the ball going straight, the ball made a wide curve. Algenon hit the ball so hard it zoomed straight up into the air. Algenon couldn't understand where the ball had gone. He looked everywhere. I just can't understand where that ball has gone, Algenon said. Then suddenly, bonk, the ball hit Algenon right on the head. Algenon chuckled at what had happened, and while he was rubbing his head, he said, Boy, oh boy, now I see. Volleyball is certainly not a game for me. But I gave it a try, and I guess that is good. I gave it my best try. I did all that I could. Algenon then heard the band play. He raced over to be with his friend Ray. I have just the thing for you, I bet. Try to play this clarinet. So Algenon blew and blew, but the harder he blew, the redder and redder his face grew. Algenon, this is just not the instrument for you. Algenon heard the bell ring. Ding, ding, ding. This meant playtime was over in their little school of Andover. The children were back in the classroom and seated for only a moment or two, when Mrs. Beersley said, I have a special job for someone in this class to do, but who should I pick? You, or you? Oh, please pick me, Algenon said. Yes, Mrs. Beersley said with a nod of her head. What is this important job you want me to do? Algenon, please clap these chalk erasers until they are clean through and through. So Algenon went outside and started to clap. He clapped, and he clapped, and he clapped, clapped, clapped. He clapped so hard that he made a cloud as big could be. It was so big that Algernon could hardly see. But when all the dust had settled down, and when he started to turn around, Mrs. Beasley said, "Oh, what a sight! Algernon, you're covered from head to tail in chalk dust white." "Algernon, please don't feel blue. Clapping erasers are just not the thing for you." Algernon thought, "But there must be something I can do." Just as Algernon began to sit down with a frown, in walked Mr. McClure and his whole TV crew. The class were excited, just as thrilled as could be. Imagine twice in one day seeing this star from TV. Mrs. Beasley was so surprised she hardly knew what to say. "Why, Mr. McClure," she finally said, "what brings you back our way?" "Well, there is an exciting contest that I would like to tell you about." "It is our most exciting contest yet, no doubt. We are planning to put on a parade in Van Clive's. There is a trophy for the best class, first prize. We would like to put you all on a TV. That way the whole town can see. We are going to film the parade in the park. The parade will last until long after dark. But to be fair to all the other classes too, your class must be able to do something unique and new." Mrs. Beasley replied, "Well, Buffy can play the kazoo, and Amy and Jill can sing and dance too." Mr. McClure answered, with a regretful sigh, "All that is fine and good, and I would accept you if I could, but we need something unique and new. I'm afraid that just wouldn't do." Just as the TV men and crew began to walk out, Algernon jumped up and said with a shout, "Please, please, Mr. McClure, don't leave now. You must be able to use our class somewhere, somehow." "Algernon, I would love to use your class in the parade, but you must understand there is just not enough room for everyone, plus another band. That is why only the most talented classes may go. This must seem unfair, I know, but I'm trying to be as fair as can be. But there is just not enough room for everyone to go on TV." "Oh, I understand," Algernon sadly said as he twirled swiftly away. After watching Algernon twirling, instead of leaving, Mr. McClure and his crew decided to stay. They just stood there, as if they were glued to that spot. They just all stood there and stared as Algernon did his twirls and his trot. Mr. McClure and his crew stood there with their mouths open wide. "Why, that's stupendous, wonderful, amazing, new!" Mr. McClure cried. "No one could ever do that, no matter how hard they tried." Algernon stopped twirling and trotting. He was puzzled as could be. Was Mr. McClure speaking to me? Excuse me," Algernon stuttered. "Mr. McClure, I don't know what you mean." "Why, Algernon, my boy, when you twirl and trot, that is the fastest I have ever seen. You spin so fast, all you see is a blur of green." "Mr. McClure, does this mean our class will be in the parade?" "You bet," Mr. McClure exclaimed. "It will be the best one ever made." The whole class squealed with delight. Finally, Algernon thought, "I have done something right." Algernon was so happy that he jumped all around. Higher and higher he leapt from the ground. Algernon did turns while in midair. No one could ever have Algernon's flair. Algernon did handstands and trolled this way and that. "My goodness, Mr. McClure," cried Algernon, "you're quite an acrobat." Algernon could leap very high, then land on his tail. Mr. McClure said, "With you leading the parade, Algernon, our parade can't fail." So it was decided that Mrs. Beasley's class was the winner from Sunray. Tomorrow they will board the bus for Van Clive's and be on their way. Mrs. Beasley's class met in front of the school very early next morning. They wanted to make sure they brought everything, and I do mean everything. They loaded 3 French horns, 5 trumpets, 2 clarinets, 4 flutes, and 1 oboe. We loaded all this, but still had more to go. Next we loaded a big bass drum, 2 tubas, and 1 slide trombone. "Oh, I do hope that is the last of it," Mrs. Beasley said with a tired groan. Everything was now loaded onto the bus. We didn't think there would be room left for us. With a rattle and a chug from the bus, we were soon on our way. We were all excited about being in the parade today. It took us about an hour to reach Van Clive's. When the bus pulled into the parade ground, we were in for a surprise. People were already lining up on the street for miles and miles just to catch a glimpse of the parade as it would march by. We saw the colourful costumes of the other students. Their shiny instruments reflected the sun and sky. Mr. McClure met our bus and helped us to unload. All the while, we listened to his instructions and did what we were told. Algenon was all smiles. He couldn't help but to grin. The stage was set. The parade was almost ready to begin. So Algenon took his place with a big wide grin on his greenish face. Away he marched down the street with the band marching behind and keeping up the beat. We marched until the sun went down. Algenon laughed. I never realized that Van Clive's was such a long town. Mr. McClure once again greeted us when the parade was through. Let me say that I am very proud of each and every one of you. It is certainly my honour to say that I am presenting the first prize to you, Algenon of Sunray. To me? Algenon gasped with surprise. I don't know what to say. I could never have done it without the help of our great band. We all did our best and it showed. Algenon was so happy he glowed. The children heard Mrs. Beardsley say, Oh, Algenon, you saved the day. Thanks to you, we won first prize for this parade in Van Clive's. Algenon, you deserve the trophy, you really do. When our class needed you, you certainly came through. You might have given up. There were many times you could, but you kept right on trying, as you know you should. No matter what, you always tried your best. And now you have this trophy. You know you passed the test. Oh, Algenon, what would we ever do without you? Algenon said, This is all too good to be true. The children all shouted, Hip, hip, hooray! Algenon now, Algenon, you saved the day. That's the story of how Algenon saved the day, marching and twirling as the band did play.